Hey guys, it's Ryan with AIinsidertips.com, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about all of the important details that you need to know about GPT-4o. Now, if you're living under a rock in the world of AI, this is the most sophisticated and newest language model that was released by OpenAI on May 13th, 2024, which was 10 days ago as of this video recording. They announced it at their spring update event, which was right before Google's annual I/O conference. How convenient that timing was. But there's a lot to unpack here when it comes to GPT-4o. And in this video, I'm going to talk about just the general info and details that I think are important to highlight. I'm going to talk about, is ChatGPT Plus now worth it? That's one of the biggest questions I had. We're going to be looking at API pricing for this model. We're going to be also comparing it to the previous version of GPT-4. We're going to compare it to GPT 3.5. And I'm also going to give you kind of my concluding thoughts on why OpenAI released this model to the public, at least my take on this whole thing. So that is the first thing that I want to call out here, is that this model is 100% free to use. Now, if you open up a ChatGPT account, you'll see here I'm on a paid plan. Yours probably won't look like this, but you should have access to GPT-4o regardless if you're a Plus subscriber or not. This is open to every single member of ChatGPT. So the first important detail that I want to highlight here is this voice mode. Now, voice mode is nothing new. If we all have iPhones, I'm sure we've used Siri. If you have, Amazon Alexa, that's another example of using voice. But where this is different is it's actually a voice chatbot. So the example that they gave at their spring update was they were doing real-time language translation from English to Italian and Italian to English. And I'm actually going to play a short clip here from their spring update to show you what I'm talking about. I'm not going to play the full thing. I'll leave a link to all the resources that I mentioned in the video description below so you guys can watch the full thing.
Hey, ChatGPT, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. So I would like you to function as a translator. I have a friend here who only speaks Italian, and I only speak English. And every time you hear English, I want you to translate it to Italian. And if you hear Italian, I want you to translate it back to English. Is that good?
Perfetto.
Mark, io mi chiedo, se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask, how do we solve linear equations?
Potrebbero chiederci come risolviamo le equazioni lineari.
So you guys get the point there, but that is really revolutionary in my opinion, as before, we have not seen a language model yet, whether it was GPT-4, 3.5, anything Gemini or Claude came out with yet, where it can do that real-time voice translation. So that is a really, really big deal in my opinion. And they also give all these examples here of some of the other capabilities. So it gives you inputs, outputs, and you guys can read all this on this press release or this information about GPT-4o. It has things with model evaluation, so where it compares the other models. We have GPT-4o, we have GPT-4 initial release, Claude 3 Opus, Gemini Pro, Llama 3, which is Meta AI, so Gemini is Google's LLM for those unfamiliar, Claude 3 Opus, developed by Anthropic, heavily backed by Amazon, and it's just giving you a couple benchmarks here as well. Some in-the-weeds details about language tokenization. I'm not going to get into that. Some model safety and limitations, model availability. Like I said, it's available to every single user of ChatGPT, regardless if you're paying for that $20 a month plus subscription. So let's talk about that really quickly now. So why would anyone now pay $20 a month to use ChatGPT Plus when you can get the best model of GPT-4o from OpenAI completely for free? Great question, Ryan. Why would you pay for Plus? Well, I am currently a Plus member, so I'm going to try to justify my expense here in this little short segment. So I'm on the pricing page, and as you can see, there's a free plan and a Plus plan. There's enterprise, there's team plans. Now, these are useful for super users or people in teams that are using ChatGPT all the time. But for most people, it's between free and Plus, and this price hasn't changed. It's always been $20 a month since they first released it. I actually just made a video talking about this. Is ChatGPT Plus worth it? But unfortunately, that was 2 weeks ago, and ChatGPT Plus is completely different now than it was 2 weeks ago. So appreciate you all if you're still watching that video. I'm actually going to have to make a new one here pretty shortly. But anyways, On the free version, here it is again, you get access to GPT-4o, but the key word here to pay attention to is limited access. Limited access to GPT-4o, limited access to data analysis, file uploads, vision, web browsing, and custom GPTs. So that is the big selling point, is that limited access. Now, I can only imagine as ChatGPT rolled out their best model for free to the public, we're going to see an influx of new users. People that used it before are probably going to come back. And there's only so much that their servers at OpenAI can manage at a given time. So as you'll see here, it says up to 5x more messages for GPT-4 if you're a Plus user, which is a very beneficial feature if you use ChatGPT every day like myself. You also get early access to new features. So the big one I'm banking on right now is Sora, which is OpenAI's text-to-video model. That's one of the reasons I'm holding on to my Plus subscription, is that's probably going to be in the mix somewhere. Also, you get access to DALLE image generation. So you cannot generate images with DALLE still on the free version of ChatGPT. You have to be a paid member to do that. Create and use custom GPTs. However, you can still access custom GPTs on the free plan now. So that is another important update, that before you had to be a member of ChatGPT Plus to get these custom GPTs. So in my opinion, guys, if you're using ChatGPT frequently, I would still recommend buying the Plus plan for only $20 a month. It's still very inexpensive, in my opinion, for a SaaS tool. There's SaaS tools that go for hundreds of dollars a month, and there's also white label OpenAI SaaS tools that are $30 to $50 a month when they're pulling API keys from OpenAI to start with. So you're better off just paying for this $20 a month plan for ChatGPT Plus if you want to use it a lot, and you want the DALLE image generation, and you want to stay in the loop for new features, aka Sora probably coming soon. So that is my take now on ChatGPT Plus. If you use it every day, I would suggest getting it. If you use it multiple times a week, I would suggest getting it. If you barely use ChatGPT or AI, first of all, you need to stop and start using it more. But second of all, probably not worth it if you don't use the tool very much. So that's my take there. Now, when it comes to the API access, it's actually cheaper than the previous model. So GPT-4o, it's $5 for every 1 million tokens input, and it's $15 for every 1 million tokens output. Whereas let's compare it to the most advanced model before GPT-4o, which is GPT-4 Turbo, $10 per million token input, $30 per million token output. That's a 50% increase in price from GPT-4 Turbo, from GPT-4o to GPT-4 Turbo. It's a 50% price decrease, and this model, according to OpenAI, is better. So they really are trying to make this as public as possible, and that's evident with opening it up to the public for free and slashing the price of their API calls in half. So another important detail to call out that came from the release of GPT-4o is that OpenAI announced a desktop app for ChatGPT. Now, this is only available on Mac computers. This is not available on Windows PC. The reason I could think of that is they're doing all sorts of stuff with Microsoft Copilot on those machines. So I would assume that that's the reason it's only available for Mac. Now, it isn't available in the App Store. I just looked before this video. But if you go over to the community forum for OpenAI, I'll leave a link to this page in the description. They have a link here where you can click this and it will download the desktop application for you if you're using a Mac computer. Now, as you'll see as I scroll through here, there's all these people saying you should use it. But guys, honestly, in my opinion, I have used it a little bit. But it's the exact same thing as what you would get on a browser. And in my opinion, I don't want that wasted space on my computer for an entire application of ChatGPT. I would rather use the browser version of ChatGPT than I would on my MacBook computer that I'm limited space with anyways. The next feature I want to call out here is that the improvements to data analysis inside ChatGPT. So as you'll see, they have a little, GIF infographic deal here, where ChatGPT, GPT-4o, the language model, can now generate these visuals, these cool looking charts and graphs to help you with data visualization. It can generate tables, and also it can interact directly with Google Drive and Microsoft OneDrive. So it's got an integration now. So if I pull up ChatGPT, I must have got rid of it on accident here. And it looks like if I click this icon here where you would attach, a file or a PDF or an image, you can still do that. What you can do here is you can now connect to a Google Drive account, or you can connect to a Microsoft OneDrive account. So if I click this, it's going to open this up. I'll just use AI Insider Tips as an example. Click continue. And then now it's going to connect to my Google Drive account. So if I want to do that, I can click add from Google Drive, and now it's going to search through my entire Drive account if I want to upload an image, a PDF, a Word doc, a spreadsheet, a PowerPoint presentation, or Google Slides, or Google Sheets, Google Docs, anything in this drive here that I want to now leverage with AI, I now have that capability to do so. So I want to show you a quick example of what this actually looks like in the real world. Because Ryan, this is all cool. And I see this all the time with AI people. It's like, look at all these things it can do. Look at all these updates. But there's barely any real world application of these people telling you how to use AI to improve your life, your job, whatever the case is to make our lives easier. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a screenshot, and I'm also going to update all the holdings in one of my favorite investments, which is called VTI, which is Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund. Disclaimer, this is not investment advice. This is for educational purposes only. Had to throw that in there just in case. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to ChatGPT, and I'm going to upload a PDF that I have saved on my desktop. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's go to desktop, VTI info. So in this PDF, it has all of the holding companies that are in this what's called ETF or exchange traded fund of the VTI investment. So now I'm going to say, based on this PDF of VTI and its holdings, can you create a pie chart with percentages of VTI's holdings? Let's try something basic here and let's see what it says. I might have to regurgitate that prompt to make it more sophisticated so it knows what I'm talking about. But here it says analyzing, and I'm going to skip ahead quick after this is complete. So here's the chart that ChatGPT or GPT-4o created for me based on this PDF and simple prompt. Now, this is pretty cool, guys, because it couldn't do this before, but I did ask for the holdings. I was looking for companies of VTI, but it gave me sectors, so I can't really fault the tool for that. But still pretty cool. It's showing me the percentages, 32.1 tech, 14.2 consumer discretionary, 13% industrials. Really cool stuff going on here. Now, you can switch to a static chart. I prefer the interactive chart, just easier to use. You can update this or edit the colors. So if I have a specific color, just want to use one of these, you can edit the colors of all these different items on the pie chart. You can download this. You can expand the chart. So if you want to make it bigger, you can do that. Let's get rid of that. And now let's say, for example, I want to, know the companies. Great. Now, instead of sectors, can you do, let's see, percentages of VTI's holding companies? And then I'm going to skip ahead after this is complete. All right, so now here is a pie chart of the holding companies, which is what I asked for. Now, the only other thing is it only gave me about 10 options here, but still, it's not significant enough in my opinion if it's less than 1%, so not a huge deal. I'm sure if there were more, options within the PDF, it might have given me more, pie chart things. I'm not really sure. But here, as you'll see, 6.1% of Microsoft is what VTI is. It also has about 5% of Apple in its stock. It has 4.2% NVIDIA, 3.3% Amazon, 3.2% Alphabet, aka Google. So just really cool stuff here. If you have a presentation, if you have data that you want to make visually, you can upload a spreadsheet and say create a pie chart, create a bar graph, or whatever you want to do to make your data look visually appealing. Now, the other thing that I think is cool is I'm actually going to upload the stock price of VTI. So I took a screenshot on my computer, just looking at the Google stock price. I had it up here. Here it is right here from about 5 years ago. As you can see, it's gone up quite a bit. And then I'm going to say, okay, great. Based on VTI's performance over the past 5 years, can you make a prediction. And let's see here. Can you create a graph that would look like a prediction? I know that's kind of a convoluted prompt, but you'll see what I'm trying to do here. And I'll skip ahead after this is complete. So here's what the response I got from ChatGPT. And basically, guys, what I was trying to do is I was trying to upload a graph and say, hey, based on this graph for the past 5 years, can you predict where you think VTI is going to go in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years based on historical patterns? And right here, it gave me this graph, and I'm not really sure. Maybe I just prompted it wrong. But it gave me like historical data from 2020 up until 2022. I'm not really sure what any of this means. But then I asked it for predictions for 2025 and 2030. Gave me a little table here. And it says, $5,574 for 2025, $10,411 for 2030. So not accurate in my opinion. Maybe they're looking at it from a different perspective. But you'll see here VTI is trading at about $260 a share. So I'm not really sure where they're getting that information from. So again, just another reason to not really trust these AI tools for financial advice. So the next thing I want to do in this video is let's actually do a quick comparison of GPT-4o to GPT-4 to GPT 3.5, because OpenAI can say, oh, this model's great, it's the best one yet, but unless you're actually testing it for certain prompts and use cases, I mean, it doesn't really mean anything in my opinion unless you're actually testing it for certain things. So in this example, the first prompt that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a recency prompt. So I'm going to say, what is the current price of Bitcoin? And we're going to quickly compare all the different models. So right now I'm on GPT-4o. And as you'll see here, what is the current price of Bitcoin? The current price of Bitcoin is actually sitting around 67, 68,000. It's very volatile. I understand that. But what I want to know is basically how close is it. This is really right on the dot. So right when I just looked here, it was 67,600, 67,600. Pretty crazy stuff there. So now let's ask the same thing to GPT-4. So if I head over to GPT-4, what is the current price of Bitcoin? I believe GPT-4 still has real-time web integration or web access with Bing. So let's see what it comes up with. It says browsing Coinbase. So again, extremely accurate here from a recency perspective. So let's now go to GPT 3.5. And again, that was kind of cool too. I didn't even realize that, is that it looks like you can switch up language models in the middle of a chat. So if you're using GPT-4o, for whatever reason you want to go back to GPT-4, you can do that in the exact same chat. So that's really interesting. You can change the model right here as well with this little star icon. You can still do the regenerate copy. You can read aloud now. That's an interesting call out. I'm glad I found that. So let's start a new chat, GPT 3.5, ask it a very simple question. What is the current price of Bitcoin? And again, this has always been the biggest flaw of GPT 3.5 is its training data, I believe, doesn't go up till 2023, something like that, early 2023. It says I cannot provide real-time information like current prices. So never use GPT 3.5. I don't know why they would even still have it on the platform, in my opinion. So that is that. So it looks like GPT-4o and GPT-4 both got the recency element down. GPT 3.5 did not. So I'm not going to go through all of these. I might do a more dedicated video testing the models, but for the purposes of this video, let's try one more prompt here. So let's do this one here. Create a unique business strategy for a new AI SaaS tool targeting content creators and entrepreneurs. Make it precise and easy to understand. One of the best use cases for AI that I always preach about is ideation and strategy. So I already entered this into GPT 4.0 as I wanted to just make sure it got through it so we're not sitting here waiting. It says Content AI Pro. So that's the name that it's giving this AI SaaS tool. Is an AI-powered SaaS tool designed to streamline content optimization, content creators. The tool offers features such as AI-generated content, SEO optimization, scheduling, and analytics. All useful things in my opinion. Target audience, unique selling proposition, gives you components, market positioning. So it's giving you really a step-by-step thing here, implementation. So it did stop, or it looks like it's still going. So it gives you an implementation timeline as well based on what it would recommend, steps or months 1 through 6, months 7 through 12, 13 and 14. It actually names these different phases here. So pretty thought out and sophisticated in my opinion for GPT-4o. So now what we're going to do is come to a new chat, go to GPT-4. I want to open a new chat, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So now I'm going to skip ahead after this output is complete. All right, and as you'll see here, here's the response from GPT-4. We have a product offering. It's called Content Catalyst. Not as good as the other one, in my opinion. Unique selling proposition, yada, yada, yada. It has these 8 things. But here's the big difference, in my opinion, is this implementation timeline. This is a big deal, especially for any business plan. It's really giving you a 24-month process of through different phases, in fact, too, of what it would recommend to get this off the ground. There's just more details here. This is more helpful, in my opinion, than what we saw from GPT-4o. Or GPT-4, excuse me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly use GPT 3.5, copy and paste this here. And that's always been one of the only good things of GPT 3.5, just how lightning fast these responses are. So as you'll see, marketing approach, so not as many details. Content Craft AI, not a terrible name, I could see that, but just not as sophisticated and not as detailed. It still gives you the unique selling proposition, the monetization, customer support, but again, not as detailed and ironed out and actually, applicable, in my opinion, than what we saw with this output from GPT-4o. So I lied to you guys. I'm actually going to do one more prompt just to test images with DALLE, because you still could generate before with GPT-4. You could never do it with 3.5. So let's compare 4.0 and 4 when it comes to the images. And in this example, I have a prompt here that I use for my thumbnails on YouTube, and you guys can copy this if you want. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's a more sophisticated prompt for DALLE. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a thumbnail with the text. Let's just do ChatGPT, or let's just do ChatGPT. We'll just make it easy. And then I'm going to do ChatGPT here at the end, and then that, enter. And then I'm going to come back after this image is complete. All right, so here's what I got from GPT-4o. Not bad. It spelled the text correctly, which is really mostly everything I can ask for with DALLE. And I could definitely use this. I could plug it into like a computer screen. I could crop my face over it. There's a lot you can do in Photoshop or Canva, but this would be the general background. Obviously, of course, you can edit it. That was a previous update in DALLE. So pretty good, not bad. Now, when I came over to GPT-4, this isn't, what I was doing on GPT-4o. This is GPT-4. This is a brand new chat. Here's the image that I got from GPT-4. The first thing I noticed right away, ChatGPT is completely misspelled. I also really don't like this image in general. I'm not sure why it did artificial intelligence in school, as I only asked for ChatGPT in the text for the only text to be in the image. So clearly it didn't follow the directions as well as GPT-4o did. So I have to give the nod to GPT-4o when it comes to DALLE. Again, another selling point for ChatGPT Plus, in my opinion, is the ability to generate AI images that look like this one. Now, on a final note, guys, first of all, I hope you learned something here from all the information I rambled about with GPT-4o. One of the biggest questions that I had after this announcement, the fact that they made it for free. Why would OpenAI release their most sophisticated language model of GPT-4o to the public for free? And I believe I have the answer to that. This is my thought anyways. And I do have an SEO background, so this is what triggered me to think like this. OpenAI is releasing a brand new search engine. It's still in the works. It hasn't been released yet to compete with Google Search. The AI-powered search product is reportedly launching on the eve of Google's I/O event. Now, this was not true. It didn't happen, but we do know that it's in the works. So let's think about this. Let's critically think about this for a second. Why would OpenAI release its most advanced model to the public? Think about the influx of new users that they're going to get with GPT-4o versus before on the free version you got GPT 3.5, or you're going to get people coming back to the platform that stopped using ChatGPT overall. Well, what's the best way to create a viable search engine? You need data. How do you get data? You need to get as many users to your platform as possible. And I believe that's the reason for this move, is so they can just keep compiling and collecting as much data as they possibly can in their ecosystem so they can best train their AI search engine to compete with Google, because that has always been Google's biggest selling point, is its infrastructure and its data. There's no other tech company, maybe besides Microsoft, but Bing is a complete, just debacle compared to Google search, that can compete with Google when it comes to the amount of user data that they have at their disposal. And that would be my take on why GPT-4o is available to the public for free, so OpenAI can get as much data as possible. I believe that's why they're doing it. So if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. If you agree, let me know as well. But that's it, guys. That is this video, this all-encompassing video on GPT-4o. Showed you a quick prompts as examples to test against GPT-4 and 3.5. Some other useful things with the data analysis, the voice feature, the desktop app. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you using GPT-4o now? Will you still pay for ChatGPT Plus? I want to hear your thoughts on all these different questions that I have. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel at AI Insider Tips, I would truly appreciate that. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you disliked it, if you think I rambled too much, give this video a thumbs down. I would probably agree with you on that. And also, guys, if you haven't gotten my free guide on the best AI side hustles, you can find this guide link in the video description or pinned comment below, where I show you my favorite AI side hustles on how you can generate up, $5,000 a month in passive income online. I've done it myself. I have the proof in this free guide. But I appreciate you all, if you made it this far, for sticking through this video. Again, this is Ryan with AI Insider Tips. Hope you all have a good day. And guys, I hope you have fun messing around with GPT-4o.